Football fans, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you is one of the most dramatic Champions League stories in recent memory. Imagine this: Liverpool draw Real Madrid once again in Europe's biggest competition. The two giants locked in yet another battle. But here's the twist: Liverpool are banned from hosting the Spanish Titans at Anfield. That's right, because of a brand new UEFA rule, Real Madrid cannot step onto the hallowed Anfield turf in the 2026-27 Champions League season. Instead, the fixture would be forced to shift to the Bernabeu, and that shocking decision changes everything. Now you might be wondering, how on earth did we get here? How could UEFA possibly deny fans around the world the chance to see one of football's most iconic fixtures played in one of football's most iconic stadiums? Well, let's break it down. UEFA's Competitions Committee quietly introduced a new regulation, and at first glance it looks like a small detail. But when you dive deeper, it's a rule with massive consequences. According to UEFA's official website, no two teams can play each other in the same competition with the same home advantage for 3 consecutive seasons. Sounds harmless, right? But when you apply it to Liverpool and Real Madrid, it means that because Liverpool hosted Madrid last season and will host them again this season, the next encounter automatically shifts to Spain. That's where the drama begins. Because this isn't just any fixture. This would be Trent Alexander-Arnold's first return to Anfield since leaving his boyhood club for Real Madrid at the end of the 2024-25 season. The same Trent who lifted the Premier League trophy with Liverpool. The same Trent who cried as he waved goodbye to the Cop. The same Trent who has been adored, idolized, and sometimes even criticized, but always one of their own. Imagine the atmosphere. Imagine the tension. Imagine the electricity at Anfield that night. And now, UEFA have effectively ripped that away. Before I go any further, let me ask you, do you think UEFA were right to enforce this rule? Or do you think fans are being robbed of a historic footballing moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear where you stand on this one. Now let's stay with Trent Alexander-Arnold for a second. Because if Liverpool fans thought watching him return in a white Real Madrid shirt would be painful, there may be an even more shocking twist. Reports from Spain suggest that Trent's future at Madrid is already uncertain. Yes, you heard that right. Just months into his Real Madrid adventure, Trent is reportedly struggling to secure his place in the starting 11. Dani Carvajal, the veteran right-back, has reclaimed his role under Xabi Alonso. And Trent? He's been limited to just 7 appearances so far. For a player of his caliber, for a player of his reputation, that's a worrying sign. And here's where things get even more unbelievable. Manchester City, yes, Liverpool's fiercest rivals, the very club that pushed them to their absolute limits during the Klopp-Guardiola era, are monitoring the situation very closely. City have been admirers of Trent for years. They wanted him back when he was a youth prospect. They tried again when he left Liverpool on a free. And now if Madrid decide Trent is not part of their long-term plan, City are prepared to swoop. Can you even imagine the scenes? Trent Alexander-Arnold, Liverpool's golden boy, not just leaving Anfield, not just joining Real Madrid, but returning to the Premier League in sky blue, playing under Pep Guardiola, linking up with Erling Haaland, slotting into a system where he could be the long-term replacement for Kyle Walker. If you're a City fan, that's a dream. If you're a Liverpool fan, that's a nightmare. And let's be honest, the emotional side of this story cannot be overstated. Trent is not just any player, he is Liverpool's homegrown hero. The boy from West Derby who rose through the academy ranks, who lifted the Champions League in Madrid, who helped bring the Premier League trophy back to Merseyside after 30 long years. To see him line up for Manchester City would sting in a way that very few transfers ever have. In fact, I want you to imagine this. You're in the Kop, watching City walk out. Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, and then you see Trent Alexander-Arnold in their colors. How would you react? Because I guarantee the footballing world would explode with debate. Now, from City's perspective, it makes perfect sense. Kyle Walker won't last forever. Pep Guardiola is obsessed with technical fullbacks who can invert, who can dictate the game from midfield. And Trent, he's tailor-made for that. His passing range, his vision, his creativity. Under Guardiola's coaching, he could evolve into something even more dangerous. A right-back who's also a playmaker, a tempo setter, and an attacking weapon. For City, it would be more than just a transfer. It would be a statement, a power move. To prize away one of Liverpool's legends, even indirectly, via Real Madrid, would send shockwaves through football. But there's a catch, and this is where things get interesting. Trent has always been criticized for his defensive ability. Could he adapt to Guardiola's strict demands? Could he handle the rotations, the tactical adjustments, the defensive intensity City require? That's the big question. Some will say yes, Guardiola would refine him. Others will argue no, his weaknesses would be exposed. But whatever your take, the raw talent is undeniable. And if City pull this off, the rivalry with Liverpool would reach new unprecedented levels. Now let's circle back to Liverpool, because their 2026-27 Champions League campaign is shaping up to be one of the most dramatic in years. The new format has thrown them into an absolute gauntlet. Atletico Madrid at Anfield, PSV Eindhoven at Anfield, Karabag at Anfield, and trips to the San Siro to face Inter Milan, to Germany for Eintracht Frankfurt, to France for Marseille, and to Turkey for Galatasaray. Every fixture is massive, every stadium is intimidating. But the headline clash is, of course, Real Madrid. The problem is, fans may not get to see it at Anfield. Liverpool's new boss, Arne Slot, has already spoken about the draw. He's excited but realistic. He knows there are no easy games anymore. He knows the schedule is relentless. But for supporters, the thought of welcoming Real Madrid again was special. Last season, Liverpool beat Los Blancos 2-0 at Anfield, with goals from Alexis Mac Allister and Cody Gakpo. It was a night to remember. This time, though, it might not happen. Instead, they may have to travel to Madrid, and that changes the dynamic completely. Let's not forget, Manchester City themselves know the pain of facing Real Madrid over and over again. 6 times in 7 years these two have met. And yet, because of how UEFA define their rules, City's situation is different. Their last clash came in a playoff, so it doesn't count under the regulation, which means they could still face Madrid, either home or away. Liverpool, on the other hand, are handcuffed by this ruling. So here's the big question I want you to think about. Is UEFA's rule fair? On the one hand, it's designed to bring variety, to stop the same clubs from playing the same games at the same venues every single season. On paper, that makes sense. On the other hand, football is about stories. It's about drama. It's about history. And by taking away the chance of seeing Real Madrid at Anfield for a third year running, UEFA may be stripping the game of one of its greatest narratives. Now, let's talk about Trent's return. Because whether it's at Anfield or the Bernabeu, the story writes itself. The boy who left home, the legend who broke hearts, the icon who swapped red for white. How will Liverpool fans react? Will they boo him? Will they applaud him? Will they show a mix of both? Nobody truly knows. What we do know is that emotions will be running sky high. Trent himself admitted on social media that leaving Liverpool was the hardest decision of his life. He wrote, "This club has been my whole life, my whole world for 20 years. From the academy right through until now, the support and love I have felt from everyone inside and outside of the club will stay with me forever." Those are powerful words, but words don't always heal wounds. And for Liverpool supporters, those wounds are still fresh. They watched him celebrate the Premier League title, they watched him play his final game in tears, and then they watched him walk away. Now to potentially see him in City's colors, it would be like salt in the wound. But football is unpredictable. Football is brutal. Football doesn't follow scripts. It writes them in the most unexpected ways. And that's why this story is so captivating. Because it blends history, rivalry, emotion, and uncertainty all into one. Liverpool and Real Madrid, bound together by UEFA's rule. Trent Alexander-Arnold, caught between Madrid, City, and the shadow of Anfield. And Manchester City, lurking in the background ready to pounce. So as we look ahead to the Champions League season and beyond, one thing is for sure, the drama is only just beginning. Will Trent fight for his place at Madrid? Will City make their move? Will UEFA's rules stand the test of time? And most importantly, will Liverpool fans ever get the closure they deserve when it comes to their beloved academy graduate? Before we wrap up, I want to know what you think. Should Trent Alexander-Arnold stick it out at Real Madrid and fight for his place? Or should he consider a Premier League return, even if it's with Manchester City? And do you agree with UEFA's rule that stops Liverpool from hosting Real Madrid 3 years in a row? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because this is a debate that football fans everywhere will be having for months to come. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest Champions League drama, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Because trust me, this season is going to be full of stories just like this one, full of twists, shocks, and unforgettable moments. Football never sleeps. Football never slows down. And as this saga proves, football always finds a way to surprise us.